Today we're going to be taking you on a brief tour of the Flagstaff Model Railroad Club layout here in Arizona. Hope you guys enjoy. So the Flagstaff Model Railroad Club is based on a fictional railroad going from Phoenix, Arizona up to Ogden, Utah. So it's a north-south railroad. Back here, at the very back of the building, we've got our staging tracks. This is the Phoenix/Ogden yard. We've got the main line out here and then 6 staging tracks. Coming around here, our layout runs south-north, leaving Phoenix and departing for Ogden. Down here, just out of the yard, we've got a few switches here that diverge into another under-the-layout storage, and we've got several tracks down there. So, from Phoenix, the main line branches out, goes underneath the benchwork, comes out at the front of the layout, which I will take you to now. And then we come out right here at this tunnel, and this takes us out onto our main line. So it's a multi-level layout. You've got the front section here, the middle section that you can see there, then up in the back is the third portion of the layout. Now this layout is designed primarily to be viewed from this walkway here, as during our local county fair we have a train show essentially going on 4 days in a row. So from here we follow this track all the way up, going behind Hill Valley, which is kind of the central part of the lower part of the layout. Now this is on the end of the layout just before it pulls into Ogden. So again, following that track along up there, it goes up underneath this bridge, up and around, where it loops up across that bridge and then up towards Red Mountain and then into the little town of Timber Creek. I'll take you over there now. Alright, walking over to Timber Creek. Something else to let you guys know. Our club layout is actually split into 2 separate layouts, and it covers 3 different scales of modeling. The main portion of the layout is all in HO. We also have right here in the middle, which you can see starting in Timber Creek, we have an HON3 layout that runs from here and goes all the way down along this stretch of track here and eventually ends up over here at this little old, like, Wild West pioneer kind of looking town. That is HON3 there. You can see, so it's going to be HO size locomotives that runs on narrow gauge track. Moving back over to Timber Creek here, we have the hill and everything where the HO layout connects from the front. Coming into Timber Creek, it's kind of a transition station here. You've got the primary main line right here. We also have an inner loop main line, which during operations is used as a passing track, and during regular club nights it's its own independent loop for our advertisement train, which is consisting of little advertisements from all of the businesses, local and countrywide, even, that support us. We've got several from out of state that are just online retailers for model railroading equipment and stuff. Most of them, however, are local sponsors. Sorry if I sound a little bit out of breath today. I was just out playing some disc golf, so I'm a little bit winded. So here in Timber Creek, we've got our first main scenic coming out of Phoenix Yard here, which is the town again. You got the 2 main lines, and then in here we've got the siding track and the beginning of the HON3 layout, which is just a point-to-point. It's not a loop like the others. Up in the back you can see part of the N-scale layout. We'll cover that part a little bit later on. So yeah, got a little bit of other detailing here. We've got a little old dining car, which has been converted into a cafe. Got even a little patio there. Some people out dining. A really cool touch. Most of this was created by a guy named John Lovely, one of the older members of the club. and he is the primary operator of the HON3 layout there. So moving right along, we've got continuing on the main line, comes up around here, goes up around this main loop, and back over to the front of the layout, again for viewing. You've got a wood chip station here, industry, excuse me. Over there is Oilale. That's another town on the layout, which we'll get to in a bit. So coming up around here, it's going to loop around on these tracks. Again, those are the main lines, a little bit of a siding. Got our Thomas there for the kids during fair and open house days. So then we come out here, back still on that same stretch, right from where Thomas was. We've got the ad train, which is usually parked here when it's not running. Goes through these tunnels, around behind the Pioneer Town, and over here into South Mountain. Up there you can see more of the N-scale layout. So then once it goes and wraps around through South Mountain there, again beginning over here, it will come out in this little tunnel, cross this bridge, and pull into Flagstaff, which is our town and kind of the central part of the layout here. It's got our primary yard in view. Also has our diesel works and our steam roundhouse. Got several locomotives in there. Most of the locomotives in this roundhouse are just on display. They don't actually operate anymore. Or they're DC locomotives. And this entire layout is in DCC. Got a couple of Santa Fe diesels parked here. I'm not sure whose these are. I don't think that they're club equipment. Couple diesels here. Right here we have one of the older parts of detail on the layout, the ice house. Not exactly sure how long this has been around, but it's been quite a while. As far as I'm aware, got a little reefer car here. This one I actually fixed up from a really old kit, put proper Katy couplers on it and stuff. Got our Dragon, which is one of the points that we have on our scavenger sheet that we give to all the kids when they come in for events like the county fair and open house and stuff, to see what they can find on the layout. We've got Flagstaff Station here. This is a new section on the layout that's being put in. That's why it's all kind of torn up right now. And a lot of flag yard here that you can see. From about right here onward to the end of the yard is not ballasted. It's because we just replaced all this track. This used to be all brass flex track. We just replaced it with nickel silver. Right here on the layout we have our intermodal yard, which is another new point on the layout. It's only been here for maybe, I'm going to say 7 or 8 months. Wasn't here during last fair, I don't think. Or if it was just getting put in. So that's something that's being worked on at the moment. Alright, and then moving on down to the northeast end of Flag. We've got several tracks here that will diverge. You have the two main lines. Let's see, where are the main lines? These right here are the two mainline tracks. Excuse me, no, it's these two. These two right here are the two mainline tracks. So you've got the primary main here, which then goes underneath that hill right there, and we'll loop around into Oilale. Over here in East Flag, we've got some more industry, including what's designed to be the Purina factory in town. If you guys are at all familiar with Flagstaff. And again, just some more industry over here. From around we've got the big factory, and we've got another little building right here. Again, this used to be some scenic. This is stuff that's being worked on. There used to be a track that would run around through here and loop into Oilale, from right where that kind of creek-looking place is. So then again, here's the loop around, and that will come out around right there, behind those buildings, and then into Oilale. So I'm going to take you around front, and we'll take a closer look at Oilale there. Alright, we are back in Oilale, this time from the front view. So there's the tunnel with the two mainline tracks where it comes out of Flagstaff Yard. Got a little scenic here, the station at Oilale there. One of my favorite points on the layout to do photo work. Got all these beautiful yellow trees. Got a little pond back here. some fishing boats, and this nice little white house up on the edge. Again, one of my just favorite spots in the layout is kind of this section right here from the station back. Little diner and all that stuff. Oildale there, you see we've got our pop-out. There is a cover for that, but we haven't had it out for a while because we've had a lot of issues with dirty track underneath the layout, so we've been using that section right there to get under there and clean it. Got more of Oildale town there. And up in the back you can see the N-scale layout, including Lowell Observatory. There's a lot of other interesting bits on there that I'll show you that you can't really see from up here. Okay, so then back to Oildale. So coming out of there, go past this little church down here, sort of underneath this bridge. That is where the two mainline tracks meet up again and turn into just the one single main line. This right here is just a bit of an extension track back there for switching. And this is, if I remember correctly, this is the sunset siding, is what we call it. Coming up along here, stays on this track with that, again, extended siding there. Goes underneath that little signal bridge. And again, this is running parallel to the mainline track coming out of Phoenix again. And it's going to come up and under here, under this bridge again. But this time, instead of going up the hill, it's going to go down into that little entrance right there into that tunnel, which will again go through South Mountain, loop around this way, and will eventually come out here at this tunnel. So coming out there, over here on the far left side of the layout, up around the mountain, there's a couple of interesting detail points. There's a plane crash with a rescue helicopter dropping water on the fire. This was a project that my dad and I put in during our first year of being with the club about 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago now. Here we've got a little trailer, got some cows and stuff, a bunch of sheep. It's kind of a sheep farm up here. Looks really cool. This is one of the parts that doesn't get seen a lot, again, just because it's so highly elevated and it's kind of off in the corner. But it does look really nice. Down here we've got this main road, which will again lead us up into Hill Valley, which follows along with the train tracks here. Got another little pond down here, and there's the Mountain Pacific line. That's our logo for our club layout. This track follows right along here and come into this little sort of farm-looking place. We've got a field here with some cows, little pumpkin patch there, and then here we are at the farm. Now this is another one of my favorite places to get photography from the layout. I like to bring trains up here, park them kind of right about this angle, and get pictures of them just next to the farm buildings. You can see the grain towers, the house right there, and then there's that perfect little stretch of track there. Coming along a little bit farther, we've got a little apple or orange orchard. I'm not sure. I think it's apples based on the color there. Got some more fields here. So this is where the road meets back up, and we cross over into the town. Here with, we've got 3 tracks. We've got the primary track, and then we've got 2 siding tracks. Now, most of everything here, again, was not here a year ago. As a matter of fact, this building, wherever this came from, was not here last week. So this is a brand new bit here that was just added. This is actually the first time that I'm seeing this building. It's very nice. And right here, there's going to be another building next to it. That's kind of what these tacks are there for. Yes, all of the scenery, all these buildings and everything, this was not here last year. As you can see, there's still a bit of work to be done. The end of the town there, and then a little bit over here with the lumber yard. This is another one of my favorite new points on the layout. This needs to be not a Burlington Northern car. Looking to replace that with just a wood plank car that's just going to sit there kind of permanently unless we're doing operations. Then moving right along here, we come to another one of the oldest sets of track that's on the layout. This, I believe that these two sidings right here, where these cars are part of the original track when the layout was first put in, and that was, I don't remember exactly when. It was over 50 years ago, back in the 70s sometime. And this is going to get modified a little bit finally. This back siding here, if you can see, the track is a little bit too close together to be prototypical. So it's going to be, I believe, shortened up to around here. We're going to be putting in a propane industry, which is what these cars are for. There's a guy in town that is sponsoring the club. I believe we have him on the layout, or excuse me, on the ad train already, but he is sort of sponsoring us to kind of create this to be like his propane business, which is going to be very cool. Something that we've been wanting to do anyway. Right over here, we've got a little bit more just scenic detail. Cool little bits and pieces that you don't really notice unless you're going slowly. You can see there's a bit of an old caboose there. It's been turned into like an old shed, a little truck, and there's some deer hanging out around here. These look like kind of thin, wispy juniper trees to me. Not 100% sure if that's what they were going for or not, but up here on the hill, we got some cool stuff. We got a couple of Boy Scout looking guys. We've got a bear. I believe that's supposed to be Smokey. I think he's wearing a hat. It's kind of hard to tell in this lighting. Alright, and then down here on the main line track again, we go back into the tunnel, and that brings us into Ogden Yard, which comes out underneath here. And again, we're back into Ogden/Phoenix. Alright, so that does it for the HO layout. Let's go ahead and take a look at the N scale briefly, and then we'll wrap it up from there. Alright, so the N scale layout here, you can see significantly less intricate than the HO layout. We've got a little bit of an engine shed here, starting around near Red Mountain, coming off that bridge. We've got our yard here, which is really just a couple of diverging tracks in either direction. It's not really a proper yard. This sometime in the next year or two, this is actually going to get torn out and replaced. That's the plan, at least at this point. So we come off there on the bridge. That brings us onto the main line, which goes through the yard here. Meets back up there behind this little mountain outcropping, past this little carnival, into a loop around there. I've got a little bit of a military base. This is another one of those really cool points on the layout that doesn't get seen very much because it kind of blends in and you can't see it too well from the front of the building. Again, it follows around there, past some more industry, another little town up there, where it comes out and then loops back around, passes through the yard again, and continues on down past the bridge. Now once we get to this point here on the bridge, this is where the tracks split, as you can see right there. You've got the outer part of the main line that goes underneath that little tunnel, while the other one wraps around here, this front part. I don't know how these cars got out here. Those are supposed to be just parked in that siding, not out on the main line. Okay. Got a nice little bit of detailing, some old Native American looking buildings, structures. Coming around here, loops around up and behind the HON3, which you can see right down here on this bridge. Back up there, across that bridge is where the second main comes out of the mountain. You can kind of see them running along. We've got the outer main up here and the inner main right there. Again, it's only a single loop, at least until you get back to the yard. Then it splits into a double loop out there. However, this entire half of the layout is only a single loop. There is a passing siding here. Down on the front part, we've got a little bit of a station. We don't have a name for this town that I know of, at least at this time. Not sure how much of this is going to get changed in the coming years or not. So then up here you see both tracks kind of go into the mountain again. Now we're back over in South Mountain. And those tracks respectively will come out into, I believe, Elk Summit. It's kind of hard to get to over here, but we've got a little pop-up duck under, which will take us up into the end scale. Alright, so we're up here in the middle of South Mountain, in the end scale part of the layout. So if we're coming from the inside loop there, inside main, that's going to come out here. Kind of loops around, then we come into this little town right here. Not entirely sure what was going on with this. I think this was supposed to be some sort of pond at some point. Not sure what the little wood planks are there for. I'm not sure what happened. Nobody's been up here in a while. So that loops around here again. We've got this nice little town. There's a lot of little bits and scenics up here that don't get seen very much because it is so high up to reach. The end scale layout has not been used very much in recent history. It has kind of been neglected since there have not been very many end scalers. So my dad, myself, and one of the other newer club members have been working on it recently, getting it a little bit restored, back into working order. So then right here off the main line under the tunnel is back where it meets up with that outer loop there. And that's going to do it for the end scale layout here. Guys, there is one other little bit of scenic area that I wanted to show you that I didn't show you very much before. So here where we've got all of this bridge work on all of the different levels of the layout, whether it's the main, the second main, we've got the end scale right there, and of course the HON3. We've got this little waterfall area, which looks really cool. Doesn't get seen very much again, because it's not very visible from the walkway. That sort of comes down here, and then we've got this big pond. Got another little ranch-looking place with some horses and stuff. This is another one of the more, I would say, more intricate, more beautiful little places on the layout that, again, just doesn't get a lot of attention. And I think it just looks really cool. You can get a little guy back here painting it. Alright, that's going to just about do it, guys. We've got one other thing that I wanted to show you, and that's going to be up there from the dispatch control area. Alright guys, and last but not least, we've got our dispatch control area up here. Again, from the back, the staging area and all of our maintenance points in our control computer. We've got our dispatch computer here, which when it's up and running, it will have a little map of the layout, including our CTC detection. Here we've got, this used to be a big switching panel, which has been shot down to just the yard tracks, since everything else is digitally controlled now. And up here you just get a very, very nice view of the whole layout. You can see pretty well. Most places everything's not under a tunnel, so it kind of makes it the ideal point to be doing the dispatch work. You can keep an eye on everybody's trains, make sure nobody crashes, which invariably happens once in a while. So again, you've got the main line and Hilldale, everything coming out right there. Around the mountain, there's Timber Creek. Looping around. Back down that way past Thomas in the South Mountain. Coming out there in Flagstaff. Looks like we've got a little light going on in the diesel shed, even though there's nothing being worked on. Into Flagstaff Yard. Down and around. Looping out here into Oilale. Through Oilale back around, down at the end under South Mountain, back out here into Hill Valley, and coming into staging. And much better view here of the end scale layout, especially this portion here with the loop. Back along under the mountain there. And right up there as well. Alright guys, that was a pretty long video, but that's going to conclude our layout tour here of the Flagstaff Model Railroad Club. I guess it's not as brief as I said it was at the beginning. I hope you guys enjoyed it though. If you did, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more model railroad content, and we'll catch you guys in the next video.